Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump did a tremendous service to humanity, the United States of America. It's a good deed. It's almost a spiritual type of beautiful act of kindness. In my background, it's called a mitzvah. So he did a tremendous mitzvah, and I'll read you this. CNN, Liz Cheney says she will not remain a Republican if Donald Trump is GOP nominee. Yes, mazel tov, fantastic, unbelievable. And so, Donald Trump has done a great many good things for this country. Record low poverty rate in 2019. It's never been lower since they recorded the poverty rate. I believe it started in 1959, according to CNN. We had record lows in poverty, a record high in household median income under Trump in 2019. Then we had an amazing foreign policy, and he did a lot of other great things. First president to step foot in North Korea, allocated more funding Trump did to historically black colleges and universities than any president ever, made the funding permanent. But maybe one of the best things he's ever done is forever remove Liz Cheney from the Republican Party. It's actually a fantastic thing for so many reasons. Texas Tribune, Liz Cheney, says she will do whatever it takes to keep Donald Trump from the White House. She lost miserably in Wyoming. Miserably. NBC News, Liz Cheney said she would campaign for Democrats. Fine. Good. If you want the Lincoln Project, Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld Republicans, which is exactly why I didn't vote for Madam Secretary in 2016. Because I said to everybody on the left, you're going to have the Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld Republicans embedded within the Democratic Party, and it's going to be the same hawkish, militant foreign policy, infinitely greater issue than combating climate change, which is a very important issue. We know that because Biden is flooding the country full of strategic petroleum reserves and getting sued by environmental groups. Hit subscribe right now to this channel. Ladies and gentlemen, by the way, I have a short that explains, just as my third short, it explains exactly why the Federal Bureau of Investigation really does not like former President Donald Trump. I use Michael Horowitz. He's on the short. The Honorable Inspector General Michael Horowitz states categorically that there were numerous agents. They wanted to stop Trump, and he can't imagine how any of these agents would use their power to investigate any candidate for any office. That is a very powerful short. The segment prior, the short prior to that one, was Trump being essentially cleared. That's at 11,000 views. I think this is even going to surpass that one eventually. So check that out for anyone who thinks that there was just no bias against Trump. Be here later tonight. I should have a live stream a bit later this evening at around 9:30 p.m. Pacific or so. So be here. But ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe to this channel. I have a segment today on H.A. Goodman's other channel and the Stock Market Crash channel. I had the first segments in a while on both of those channels yesterday, so check out those segments. But ladies and gentlemen, here's why you want Liz Cheney out of the Republican Party. You don't want the Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld Republicans who plunged the country into never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts, destabilized entire regions of the world, and most importantly, plunged this nation into an unwinnable, never-ending counterinsurgency quagmire in numerous regions, numerous regions of the world. And we learned from Vietnam that there is no great power that can defeat or that can actually win a counterinsurgency conflict. It is impossible. It is impossible to win the hearts and minds of a local population when you have adversaries and enemies who will use the local population or use the people who live there intimidate them and do the most horrific, despicable, sinister things possible to ensure they don't side with your military. I mean, I can go on forever. It's an unwinnable, impossible military engagement or military conflict. You cannot win. There's no objective. There's no definition of victory. And Liz Cheney is more than willing, along with Kinzinger, along with the Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld people who were against. The Lincoln Project was against marriage equality. I was saying this when I was on the left. I used to be the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post. The unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. Everything that I expected Bernie Sanders to do, Trump did in a much better manner. We had record low unemployment, record low poverty, and record highs in household median income. Now we have a recession, real wages down 4.4%, more than that, inflation 8 to 9% inflation. We have 3/4 of negative growth. With Trump, we had an economy that was growing, absolutely doing fantastic. We had household median income at record highs. Real wages were up. They weren't negative. Inflation was at 2%. And in terms of geopolitics, that country in Europe wasn't being invaded. And go check out what's taking place now. If you are an ally, or if the Democratic Party claims they're an ally, or if wonderful, morally superior liberal politicians in the U.S. or throughout the world claim that they're an ally of your cause, you got a lot of problems to worry about. Okay? Look what's taking place right now with the country that was invaded under Biden's watch. Mashed potato brains is so horrendous. He's such a failure in every way that even Democrats don't want him in the Oval Office again in 2024. Which leads to Hillary 2024. I pray every day that Hillary Clinton becomes the nominee of the Democratic Party. I want a Hillary Trump 2024. I'm going to vote for Trump 1,000,000 out of 1,000,000 times, but Liz Cheney being kicked out. Here's CNN Insider. Liz Cheney says she won't be a Republican anymore. Yahoo News. Liz Cheney says if Trump wins the 2024 GOP presidential nomination, she won't be a Republican. It is a certainty that Trump will win the nomination if he runs, which he will. And if he doesn't run, then DeSantis. But the thing is, he will run. Indicted, even. And he still would defeat the incumbent or any adversary in the Democratic Party, even indicted. That's how terrible they are. That's how that's what... You're talking about catastrophic failures in terms of the economy and foreign policy. We have a recession that's just starting. We have a prolonged economic downturn because Democrats caused all of this. Okay? We had record highs in household median income in 2019, a record low in poverty, and the end of Trump's tenure, Democratic governors were gleefully tanking their economy for your benefit. Of course, there was no political motive. Give me a break. Oh my God. Then you had a V-shaped recovery in which in 2021, even Jerome Powell said, nah, inflation, there's no inflation. Everything's fine. It's just temporary. Inflation is just temporary. And they were so happy. And they were talking about poverty rates being lower. And they looked in the mirror, the morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrats. They were so happy with them. So, oh, poverty has been decreased. Thanks, mashed potato brains, Joe. Now we have poverty over 15%. It's approaching 15 and probably over 15% nationally. And then you have Democrats talking about frontline communities. Yeah, they're all doing horribly under your watch, Democrats. You caused the poverty to go up. Because you pushed and you advocated in the most hysterical and apoplectic manner to shut down economic activity. And then you pumped $10 trillion into the economy like a bunch of imbeciles. After you prevented people from earning a living. And you said, we're there for you as you prevent them from working. And you didn't have to do that. That was a choice. You didn't have to. There's a million reasons why you didn't have to, but we won't go into that. Because we can't talk about that, because Democrats have altered social media algorithms to the point where you can't actually discuss everything, but you can actually maybe connect the dots and say, oh yeah, the Democrats did that. We have the House Democrat Not for long. Midterms, Trump Republicans will decimate them, but House Democrat, Senate Democrat, Executive Branch Democrat, Washington Post, New York Times, pretty much all of media, from late night comedians to CNN, MSNBC, the Washington Post, the New York Times, all siding with the Democratic Party, and we have a recession, invasion in Europe, recession in Europe, terrible crime soaring. We have an economy that's not only in recession, 2 quarters of negative growth. You can't redefine every word to suit your political objectives. That's what Democrats do. They live by euphemisms. George Orwell called euphemisms verbal refuse. That's what they live by, Democrats. But you have layoffs ahead. You have layoffs in the future, in the near future, ladies and gentlemen. And it's terrible. You have an economy that's shrinking. You have interest rates going up in a shrinking economy. And you have a situation where this is just the first inning. And I've been saying, watch the playlist below, or the playlist on this channel. Subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. Subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel. Have I not been telling everybody, ladies and gentlemen, that we are heading towards a terrible, terrible economic environment? And I've been saying that forever. It's a catastrophe. And I've been saying that since I wrote the Federalist article in October of 2021. I called everything. I said we're heading towards a stock market crash. We're seeing that. How many times did I say we're going to have a recession, but also how many times did I say the Dow's going to get below 30,000? Who knows where the NASDAQ and S&P are going to go? They're going to plummet. They're going to actually tank a lot more. And you have layoffs. So as I beg for super chat or super thanks, you can give super thanks to the shorts. Watch the latest short, ladies and gentlemen, with the Honorable Michael Horowitz, the Inspector General, admitting that there was utter contempt and disdain for Trump. Watch that short on this channel. It's going to be below in the description section, and eventually in the pinned comment. But you can go on the homepage of this channel and watch all the shorts. You can see me lift 110-pound dumbbells each hand. But it's going to get worse, a lot worse. And the economy's in free fall, and you have Liz Cheney, you have Adam Kinzinger, you have the Never Trump Republicans who, politics makes strange bedfellows. You have Bernie Sanders. Liz Cheney, I love you. Stop hogging the sheets. You have Liz Cheney and Bernie Sanders in the same bed. Okay? Liz Cheney and Bernie Sanders vote for the same political party. Think about that. And if you're in another country, think about how dysfunctional and absurd American politics is. The Democratic Socialist is voting alongside the Bush Republican, Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld Republican, Liz Cheney. Okay, well, there you go. Dick Cheney's daughter. The Democratic Socialist, who wants Medicare for all, is voting alongside the proponent, the advocate for never-ending military conflict and interventions. But it's all about climate change. That's why Biden is flooding the country full of strategic petroleum reserves and begging the oil and gas industry, or telling them they should actually increase their output. As we have international agencies saying, you have to reduce your output. And Biden saying, we have to increase our output. My political, future is, the Democratic Party's political future is at stake. They pontificate about fossil fuels while at the same time begging oil and gas companies to increase output. You have to be a complete imbecile to vote for a recession in the midterms, which will see Trump Republicans obliterate their wonderful adversaries or whatever, opponents. We have a recession, high interest rates, shrinking economy, inflation at 8 to 9%. Do you want... What did Trump do to you? where you can't have a great economy with Trump. What did he do? What? Because the Washington Post, the New York Times, the CNN, and Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel don't like Trump? Who cares? They're all rich. Especially late night. They're all millionaires. Who cares? You think they care if there's inflation at 15%? You think Stephen Colbert cares if inflation's at 20%? He's a millionaire many times over. Same with Jimmy Kimmel. They don't care. They'd rather have Biden with a terrible economy in free fall than Trump with record highs in household median income and a record low in poverty, because their liberal sensibilities tell them that, you know what, we're already wealthy, so we can pontificate and judge and condemn and preach and do all the things that make us feel good. But God forbid we'd have the Orange Menace tweeting. We can't have Trump's tweets along with a great economy. We'd rather have, a mashed potato brains Joe, fantastic personality with kickbacks and bribery and graft with Hunter, that Republicans will endlessly investigate. And there are actually crimes there, unlike all the fabricated nonsense with Trump. Watch the shorts on this channel. You will see, not my words, government officials. But you see that, it's a choice. You have a choice. You want a great economy? Vote Trump Republican. They've already proven themselves with Trump. You want what's going on now? It'll only get worse with Democrats who want to limit fossil fuels while at the same time pumping fossil fuels into the economy. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Go ahead, share that short, ladies and gentlemen, with Michael Horowitz, the Honorable Inspector General. People have gotten it twisted. The reality is they have utter contempt and disdain for Trump. The bias was immense and unbelievable, and Horowitz stated so. And I show you this, just a couple of amazing clips in that short. I mean, he talked about a lot more bias, but it's a short's less than 60 seconds. So watch that short right now on this channel, people.